What's up, fungal associates? Welcome to Completely Arbortrary's Tropical Vacation, the podcast about tropical trees and other related topics. I am one of your hosts. My name is Alex Crowson. And of course, over there on the big green hammock.
Yeah, it's a hammock.
Is Casey Clapp.
There's a video that I just saw recently of a bear trying to get on a hammock.
Oh, bear.
And it was so funny because that bear could not get on a hammock.
Sure.
It flips over 16 times.
Oh.
So this bear just got so raging upset that it like went away from it and then picked up like a throw pillow or something that was set along the side, and just like a cat or a dog just like shaking it and like completely ripping it apart.
Letting the aggression out.
And then just walked away. Yeah, so I couldn't tell if the bear was like really having a good time and it was like a fun challenge, and then at the end just kind of had the zoomies. It's like,
Sure.
I gotta rip this thing up.
Yeah.
Or if the bear's like, I cannot get on this hammock. I'm just trying to take a nap here, people.
That's kind of my experience with hammocks. I just get frustrated and embarrassed, and then I go sit in a chair.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is not the podcast about hammocks.
And other related topics.
Podcast about trees. Well, Casey, it's been a bit. We both have been off doing things, and I don't want to spend 15 minutes telling everybody what we've been doing.
What?
But I've been recording my record.
It's true.
You've been traipsing around giving tree talks.
It's true, and I got 3 more in July.
How exciting.
Yeah, you guys should all come to them.
Yeah, definitely. You should.
We got to dive into that just a little bit more, though.
Okay.
Because you are still fundraising for this record that you're producing right now.
This is true.
So, everyone out there, if you've waited, now's the time.
Now's the time to donate and maybe alleviate some anxiety for poor old Alex.
Yeah, hey, let me put it this way. If you guys don't donate, then we're ending the podcast. Next week.
I don't know.
You have 1 week.
But you can find the link to that on our website, arbortrarypod.com, down at the bottom of the main page. You can find it on my Instagram profile. You can find it by going to Indiegogo.com and searching for my name. And I think those are probably the main ways to do it.
Yeah, all right. That sounds about right.
A vague Google search will probably turn it up. I don't know.
A vague Google search. All of my Google searches are vague.
And Casey, you, my friend, are still doing pre-sales for your book.
Still doing pre-sales. I will do a pre-sale for this book up to and including the 30th of September.
Oh, the day it comes out.
No. Technically, it comes out on the 1st of October.
The day before it comes out.
So then don't pre-order it. Just go buy it in IRL.
Just regular order it.
Yes, just regular order it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can go find that all over the internet. It's any place that you can buy books, including Target, apparently, other bookstores, any of your local shops. You can get it online. It's all over the place. Also, go to Goodreads and like it. Be like, oh, I want to read this book.
Yeah.
I actually left the very first review of it on Goodreads just because.
What'd you say?
I said, I'm pretty sure this is a pretty good book. Something like that. But before you do that, after you do that, you can pre-order real fast. And then I want to see everybody. I have a bunch of things coming up.
Yes.
And I would like everyone to come do a bunch of things that I'm going to be doing. First off, it's all going to be in July. On the 9th, I'm doing a tree walk at Hoyt Arboretum.
Great.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a world tour of cool trees at Hoyt.
Wonderful.
So come join. And on the 12th, just after that, I'm doing a bike ride called the Pedestrian Bridge Ride. It's through Pedalpalooza.
Great.
So if you're in Portland or you're not in Portland and you want to come do something cool in Portland, has nothing to do with trees. It's just about bikes and Pabst Blue Ribbon. But then after that, I also have an alley cat on the 19th, a tree-themed alley cat race.
Alley cat?
Yes, it's like a bicycle scavenger hunt.
Oh, fun.
It's going to be right here in Portland, and it's
Great.
going to be a lot of fun. Been planning it for literally 6 months with some friends.
Wow.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We've met literally once a month, talked about it, and then in the last month, we're like, oh, we actually need to do something for it. So we've done that. And then I'm doing 3 tree ID things that you guys should all come to see. One, I guess, actually is in July. It's on the 21st. It's in Boise, Idaho.
Wow.
So if you're there and you want to learn about tree identification, come find me. Then I have 2 more in August. Definitely come do those things, but we'll figure out when those are.
And while we're doing dates to come say hi to us, the 24th and 25th, I'll be playing at Timberfest up in Leavenworth, Washington.
Yes.
With my band, my friend 𝘏𝘠𝘯𝘯𝘵𝘪𝘯𝘰𝘢𝑚. So that'll be awesome. We're opening for fucking Damien Jurado.
It's going to be so cool.
I cannot believe that's happening.
That's incredible.
We're going to talk about tropical trees this month. But this first one, we are stopping off in Mexico. Perhaps we're in Central America, somewhere else in South America. We're talking about the 𝘏𝘏𝘯𝘮 today. but we must do so after a quick break. We'll be right back with Completely Arbortrary's Tropical Vacation. Welcome back to CATV.
Oh, nice. This is my favorite channel.
Well, today we're talking about the 𝘏𝘏𝘏, and the scientific name on this one is 𝘏𝘮𝘯𝘏𝘮𝘮𝘏𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝘮𝑃.
Oh, man. It took me so long to get that second specific epithet.
Yeah,
Alex.
there are a lot of syllables.
There is, and they're all like really hard and complexly arranged. So this is, I believe, actually 𝘏𝘮𝑗𝘍𝑢𝑠𝑎.
𝘏𝘏𝘮𝑗𝘍𝑢𝑠𝑎.
Yes,
Okay.
𝘏𝘏𝘮𝑗𝘍𝑢𝑠𝑎.
𝘏𝘏𝘮𝑗𝘍𝑢𝑠𝑎.
𝘏𝘮𝑗𝘍𝑢𝑠𝑎.
What a wild name.
I know, it's too hard.
I prefer the three letters that make up its common name, 𝘏𝘏𝘏.
Yes, 𝘏𝘏𝘏. Yes, this is the 𝘏𝘏𝘏 tree, and there's maybe about 30 different species. And the 𝘏𝘏𝘏, Alex, is actually recommended to us by one of my old bosses when I first worked at the International Society of Arboriculture.
Luana
Vargas. Yes,
How about that?
Love her to death. She's great. We ended up crossing paths a while ago. She just reached out and was like, oh my gosh, Casey, you're doing this podcast. But yeah, so Luana reached out and I said, hey, if there is a tree that you think would be cool that we should cover, give me an idea. And this is the one that she's recommended.
Well, fabulous, Case. I can't wait to learn all about it. And let's imagine that we are in, where do I want to be? I kind of want to be in Brazil.
Yeah, that's the right spot.
Brazil. And we come across some 𝘏𝘏𝘏. Woo! Let's ID this tree.
I really appreciate that you always pronounce it intensely. All right, let's go talk about the 𝘏𝘏𝘏.
𝘏𝑏 just sounds like an onomatopoeia to me.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah,
what
yeah.
would the onomatopoeia be?
Oh, I'll have to
before?
stew on that. I'm not
Yeah.
totally sure. Well, in the meantime, let's ID this tree.
All right, that sounds great, Alex. We have ourselves a tropical beauty. You can find this tree in the United States if you're in the most southern Florida or central to southern California. But interestingly, if you go down to Mexico, if you go down to Brazil, go all the way over to the very far east of Brazil in a very specific area called the Caatinga. It's kind of like the Arizona of Brazil, where it's very arid. And in the dry season, these trees and a bunch of other trees in the area all go deciduous. So they're drought deciduous trees.
Interesting.
And then they bloom afterwards. But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Okay.
So it is a tall growing tree, which can grow up to like 20 meters tall. It can get pretty tall. That's just maybe a little bit under 100 feet, just shy of about 70 or so.
Cool.
But I believe that if you give it long enough, because it's a very long-lived, large-growing tree, it could probably grow to get a little bit bigger. Easily 3 to 4 or 5 feet in diameter at most. I've seen a lot of them that are cut for timber because it's a huge timber tree.
Really?
Yeah, which is a big part of our story today, in
Cool.
fact. And they are 1 meter to 1.5 meters. So that's like 5 feet in diameter.
Damn.
And they don't really make these gigantic, huge buttressing bases. So that's pretty much, the columnar size of the tree. So pretty gigantic. Now, the other thing about these trees is that they grow as an emergent tree in the old gigantic rainforests.
Emergent tree.
Yes, that means that they grow up over the top of the canopy, so they become really big and large trees, and they're long-lived, and they are shade intolerant, but will grow in the understory wherever there's a nice little pocket of light.
Okay.
And that's where they will very slowly but surely grow up and take over their kind of space in the canopy.
Okay, so they kind of pop up over the top of the canopy.
Yeah, give them enough time. Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
That's a little overachiever for me.
It is. Honestly, it's a little over the top.
It's like you could just be at the top. You could just be like flush with the rest of the top of the trees.
Yeah, you could just be cool, but instead you have to pop your head up.
You need 2 more feet.
Yeah.
What is that doing for you?
What is that doing for you? Honestly, it is a bit, pretentious.
It's a bit pompous.
A bit pompous. Every P descriptor this tree has.
It's penis. It's
that is not a descriptor. That is a noun, sir.
wow. The weather today is so penis.
So the big thing that I really love about this tree is that it's oppositely arranged most of the time.
Okay.
Its leaves, but it has palmately compound leaves.
Wow.
Yes.
How about that?
Isn't it just so spectacular?
It is a rare find.
That is. It's a super rare find, but it is always lovely when you actually find it because their leaves, they look like, I don't know, like your standard palmately compound leaf. They have almost rounded, but like oval leaflets with these perfectly straight little these are technically petioles in the leaflet that go down, so it looks like kind of a yellow buckeye is what I think it looks like, mostly to me.
Would you call these obovate leaflets?
No, I would probably call these elliptic to ovate, because obovate would mean that they're widest nearer the tip than anywhere else.
I don't want to push back too hard, but I do see some here that have that appearance. But I understand that
very interesting.
There can be a little variation.
Yeah, I think there is. And like I'm even looking at another photo, and these ones are like super long with very acuminate tips.
Oh.
So yeah, I think they can be kind of almost anything. Now,
good for them. As
these trees are growing very large, their bark is kind of more or less utility bark. It doesn't really jump out at me as being too wildly beautiful. And in fact, it kind of looks a little bit messy as it gets older. It's like a tannish gray that becomes a bit brown, but doesn't really like jump out in terms of like, wow, now that is spectacular bark. It just it seems like it's tropical utility bark to me.
I'm not a huge fan.
Neither am I. I really am not. I think it's just kind of okay most of the time.
Just kind of okay.
Yeah, it does get a little bit rough at the base, but it also, it's got to be tough. It grows in kind of an area that sometimes gets little fires every now and then.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, very hot, very dry. So that's what the bark looks like. As you get up the tree, you see those oppositely arranged leaves. They're not very big. They're maybe 3 or 4 inches long, each leaflet, including the petiole. So they're really just like, not really jumping out at you. It's not really what you're going crazy for. But let me tell you what you do go crazy for, Alex. Oh, yeah. It's the flowers.
100%.
This is more specifically why Luana suggested that we do this tree, because the flowers are just stunning.
Yeah. Wow, Case.
Yeah. What do you think? Give me your initial assessment right off the bat.
I'll describe them a little bit. They are kind of two-toned.
Yeah.
One of those tones is a just bright neon fuchsia pink.
Yes.
The other tone is like a deep, rich butter yellow.
Yeah.
In the middle.
Yeah, like an Irish butter yellow.
Yes, grass-fed.
Yeah, obviously.
And then they
not organic though.
Okay.
This doesn't have an organic look to it.
Okay, fair enough. And they seem to be coming from sort of like maybe they're a collection of flowers, like an aggregate of some kind.
They're terminal panicle.
Okay. And they have sort of the shape of like a cartoon trumpet,
Yes. Oh, you've done such a good job so far.
And the petals kind of peel back. And I will say the texture of the petals.
Yeah.
I feel like you're going to tell me those aren't actually the petals. Those are just...
Nope, you're good. You're fine.
Those are petals.
There's no trick here.
The petals have sort of like a really delicate, like crinkled tissue paper look to them.
Totally.
They look very fine.
Yeah, and also
delicate.
I should make a quick thing. It's not a panicle. It's actually just an umbel. They all just pop out from one terminal spot.
Umbel, okay.
Yes, excuse me.
Yeah, gorgeous flowers.
They really are. And that tube in the middle that helps it make it a trumpet, that's the yellow part.
Yeah.
So it's like pink on the outside and then very yellow on the inside. Kind of tells all the pollinators, here's the landing spot. Come right down in.
Sure.
Go right down that throat. Go get that delicious nectar.
And it's a 5-petaled flower.
It is. It's 5 petals, and they grow in these big puffs. But here's the thing, Alex. They are, in fact, drought deciduous trees, as I noted before.
Yeah.
Which means down in the Caatinga where they grow, it's the dry season. It's also the winter time.
Dry season is the winter time?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is opposite from what we get up here. Even though it's technically in the tropical space, it always grows in those tropical areas of the world. It still has a certain seasonality to it in terms of the rainy season and the dry season.
Okay.
So the dry season down here happens right about now, from July to September. So that is up here in the northern hemisphere. That's our summertime. Down there, it's their wintertime. So in the winter, i.e. July through September, which feels so weird to say, they no longer get any water, so it becomes very dry.
Okay.
Still pretty hot because it's still tropical, but all of the drought deciduous plants will lose their leaves. Then, in the same time, right near the end, you start to see these trees flower. So there's no leaves on them whatsoever. There's no leaves on all the other trees around. But then all of a sudden you'll look out and you'll be like, what is that? And there'll just be this little cloud of pink over on the horizon.
Oh. So the end of winter, which would
Yeah.
be like end of September.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
They start flowering. Still no leaves.
Still no leaves. They flower right before the leaves come out.
Okay. Wow.
So there's never going to be a situation where the flowers are like kind of obscured by the leaves. They're always going to be like poof right there.
Wow.
You can straight see us.
Cool.
Now, there is an exception for trees that are planted in the horticulture trade because having such gorgeous flowers like this, of course, people are going to want to see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So this is planted as a street tree, a park tree, all over the tropical and subtropical regions of the world.
Cool.
Then, though, sometimes it doesn't go fully deciduous, so you can sometimes see the leaves still on it with the flowers coming out, unless you're in this kind of native dry area, in which case it drops its leaves entirely.
Interesting. Okay.
So keep that in mind.
I will say, I mean this literally, that whenever a tree is like a street tree,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's some cred, like some street cred.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice, yeah.
I'm like, oh, if it's really cool in the forest, and it's cool enough to be like a city tree and tough enough to live, and people are like, yeah, we should definitely plant these.
Yeah.
Around our homes and everybody.
Okay,
and
you're
cars.
into it. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, hey, that's really respectable.
Yeah, there you go. This tree, it can kick it anywhere.
Michael Jordan can play basketball and golf. Wow, what an incredible athlete.
I love that you didn't even say baseball.
Oh, was baseball the one that he pivoted to?
Yeah.
Okay,
He was
okay.
a professional baseballer and basketballer, and I believe golf is just what he does for underwear commercials.
Okay. Specifically Hanes.
Exactly, obviously. Yeah, so Alex, you can find these trees kind of all over the place. Just like you're saying, in streets, you can find them in the forest,
Cool.
sometimes in the forest. But if you recognize these flowers, you will probably think to yourself, that looks a lot like a catalpa, because they're in that same family.
How about that?
In the big 𝘏𝘠𝘶𝘴.
Yeah.
So the flowers have that tube-like catalpa shape, and their fruit is almost exactly the same kind of thing. That long, skinny pea pod that opens up with little winged seeds inside.
Yeah.
So everything in the big 𝘏𝘠𝘶𝘴 always shares those traits, and you can always kind of pick them out.
How about that? So this our tree today, the 𝘏𝘠𝘶,
Yeah.
that's what its fruit is like, a little pod.
Exactly. Bunch of little pods. Looks very similar to catalpa.
Actually, I guess I kind of didn't know that things not in the pea family could have a pod.
Well, it is more of we would call it a pod, but
Colloquially.
colloquially, the big thing about the pea pod is that when their flowers, or when their fruit rather, splits open, there's two suture lines
That's right.
on either side, and there are individual seeds that are bean-like. Of course, beans are in the pea family. So you see pop, 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 and they're all set up very nicely, kind of horizontally splayed out.
This is different.
This is different in that it's not a big kind of fleshy seed. It is a small little seed with papery wings on the side. So
Almost like a Samara.
almost like a samara, but
Okay.
instead of the samara being the fruit, these are samaras packed in by the dozens, by the hundreds, inside of a long, skinny capsule.
Gotcha.
Yes, it just so happens the capsule looks like a pod and splits open like a pod, but in a technical sense, it's really just a two-valved long capsule.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what they've said the same about me.
They have. You are just really a long capsule. that splits in
Two-valved
two
long
valves.
capsule. It's on my dating profile.
Oh, what a good profile. Oh my gosh, this guy is interesting. I'm tired of seeing all these pea-like flowers and fruit. This guy's got something special. Yeah, which apps are we going to find you on, Alex?
Let's see. You can find me on Hinge.
You can find me on all the apps, please. Oh, man.
That's our tree case.
That is our beautiful tree.
Unless
and
unless I'm not keeping count. Those are all the parts of a tree.
Those are the parts that we're looking at. Yeah, that's
Great.
it. Now, here's a fun thing. I want everyone to give a well, you know what? Just go to our website, and we have all the interesting things that you could ever want about A, what we're talking about, but B, I have a iNaturalist thing on here, and it shows all of the different flowers of this tree. It shows all the fruit, all the leaves, everything like
Yeah.
that. And I am just like, have been going through this because this tree is just so spectacularly gorgeous. I just cannot get enough of these flowers.
I want to say there's this beautiful photo. It's kind of near the top of, a couple hillocks,
Yeah.
and green hillocks. I'm just hills. And
No. It's a hillock.
covered in what my mother would call pops of color.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like a little pop of color, a little pink here, a little pink there, a little pink there, a little pink there, and each one of them in eBay.
Totally. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It looks like they're everywhere.
Yes. Beautiful, beautiful landscape.
Yeah. Now, this is the interesting thing about this tree, and specifically, I think that photo, because this is a tree, and you can find them, like I said, growing all over the place because they're intense horticulture species. But they are also a very intense logging species, a timber species.
Right. I forgot about that thread.
Yes, and that is kind of the thing I kind of wanted to talk about a little bit.
Fantastic.
One, we're down here in the tropics. We're hanging out. We're having a good time.
Yeah.
And I thought it was kind of ironic that we're going to go find a tree that blooms right now when we go down for our summer vacation to a place that's just like even hotter,
Yeah.
Like now for me during the summertime, I want to go to a cooler place
Sure.
for my summer vacation.
Yeah.
And then during wintertime, I want to go to the warm place.
This is like, I'm going to Hawaii in August with my family.
It's going to be hot.
And I told my friend Isabeau, who's from Hawaii.
Yeah.
And the very first thing she said, "Oh, it's going to be really hot."
Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Isabel. We appreciate that.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be hot. So we're going down to a place that's gonna be even hotter.
Escaping the heat for more heat.
For more heat. Ooh, some like it hot.
One of my favorite movies. I'm so glad you brought it up.
You're welcome. I know that's what we really want to talk about today. But so the thing about this individual tree is that being a tropical tree growing in the like lower Amazon like tropical forest basin is it does the same thing that a lot of these trees do. Now, over the time, if you go and read, say, 1491, then you'll learn that a lot of the trees that are planted and growing in the Amazon, as well as the southeastern United States, really all over the place, the mast-producing trees, those that produce fruit or nuts, something like that we
Mast
eat.
producing?
Yes, mast being the term for like nuts and that kind of thing.
Okay.
So oaks have mast years.
Yeah, well, I've obviously heard of mast years, but I always thought mast was like a descriptor, like an adjective. This was kind of a mast year.
Yes, I
Like,
see. Yeah.
We raised the mast. I don't know what I thought, but I did not know that mast was a general term for like nuts and seeds and fruit.
It is. Yeah.
Cool.
So that is I think it can be a little bit of both because a mast year is describing the year, but
Sure.
it is also saying we have a lot of nuts growing on this tree.
Cool.
And I think you can often use it for fruit, but most of the time it's a hard-shelled fruit is more mast than anything else.
Interesting.
Regardless, we've learned now, archaeologically speaking, we are slowly putting together, or maybe we've slowly put together and now we're just slowly like acknowledging that a lot of the Amazon was not just a random forest that happened to be growing. It is a forest that was planted and maintained by people for people. They managed the landscape, Alex, in a way that is hard for us to understand as agriculture today. But in a sense, in a very kind of broad definition, it absolutely is. And the way that it works is they would essentially say, well, we really like eating the Brazil nut. We are going to plant more Brazil nuts. So instead of maybe having like a whole field dedicated to it or an orchard, a plantation, the way we have now, there would be trees that were concentrated around where people lived, but those trees would be trees that people loved to eat and use for whatever reason.
Sure. With other trees around them and other plants and their shade and stuff.
So in the southeastern United States, we did it with the pecan and walnuts and hickories of all sorts of fashion, oak trees, chestnuts, like those are the big ones.
Sure.
And they would be planted and growing all over these places. And people are like, wow, look at all these trees. They just happen to be producing all these nuts and seeds for us. It's really like, well, they didn't just happen to be growing there. Someone did what we do to this day where we say, man, I really love peaches. I'm going to plant a peach tree in my yard so I can get peaches all the time.
It's not a pecan forest. It just is it's not a farm.
Yeah.
It's like a natural looking farm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
More balanced kind of thing.
And that's why it's hard for us to like say that's agriculture.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So this tree doesn't produce a fruit that we eat. So we never did that historically. So if we didn't do that historically, then most of the trees that exist down in the tropics are, for the best descriptor, like this is going to sound flippant, but it's really correct, is few and far between.
Sure.
That is the thing. It's one of the big ideas between the rainforest idea of like there being a huge amount of species. There is, but they're all spread apart. So there's the diversity does not necessarily mean local abundance.
Okay. It's
Does
not
that make
like
sense?
it's not like per square mile. This thing is really diverse. It's like the entire Amazon's really diverse.
Yes, more like per hectare. Yeah.
Hectare.
Yeah. So hectare is like, the I don't know, the metric equivalent of an acre.
Sure, yeah.
But like several acres are inside 1 hectare. So they're like 10 times bigger or something.
Okay,
They're much,
gotcha.
much larger.
Okay.
So they essentially are the kind of tree that grows here and then another one way over there
Yeah.
and another one way over there. Unless, of course, it's like that picture that we saw where several of them, if there's different species or if they're growing in an area that doesn't produce the really tall, straight kind of timber trees, then they might be growing much closer together. So over in the Caatinga, where it's much drier, they stay a little smaller and they're like lower trees. That's also the kind you'll see growing in Florida or Southern California. Like they're open grown trees. They're not in a forest, so they kind of stay a little bit smaller.
Okay.
So some of the descriptions from like the University of Florida says that they get maybe about 20 feet tall. And I'm like, that sounds crazy.
Like a dogwood.
Yeah, exactly. Height literally 12 to 18 feet. And I'm like,
Wow.
that is like way too short. When I read another article about people exploring these trees outside of, or just in the forest in Brazil, they're like 80 feet tall or more.
Yeah, those are giants.
Exactly. So I think that has way more to do with where they're growing. So it's a very adaptable tree.
That's kind of a thing too, though, right?
It is, yeah, totally. You put a certain tree in a certain situation, like a Doug fir, and it's just going to crush it. But you put that same tree in a tougher situation, it's going to crush it, but crushing it may look like growing half an inch a year kind of thing.
So the ipes in southern Florida are still like, you would call them tree-like.
Totally,
They're trees.
yeah, they're trees, yeah.
So I sort of imagine them as like short, like almost like Japanese maple style.
Oh, no. They're much taller than that.
Okay.
So they would be, I think you had it right with dogwood, where they're decent-sized trees, but no one's ever going to be like, whoa.
Yeah,
They're not going to be blown away by it. It'll be beautiful, but it won't be like, oh, that's a big tree.
And still used for timber in the U.S.?
No, not at all. Not even close.
Okay.
It's only a timber tree in the tropics.
Got it.
Why are you laughing, Alex? Stop laughing.
No reason.
Oh, man. So, yes.
That was Casey's third take.
It was my third take, and I got it right.
Sorry.
So the fact that this tree in most of these big tropical areas grows in that same way makes it so that if you cut one down, then you've cut down the one tree within that hectare. And now you need to go out and go find another one way further away.
And you better plant another.
You better plant another, but they're working on how to do that because they're trying to figure out how best to grow seedlings to grow in certain areas.
Okay.
Because of this big issue about harvesting tropical trees, which is kind of a little bit about what I wanted to talk about today.
Great.
Now, it's a really complicated subject, and there's a lot of nuance to it. So I actually think I want to choose another tree another time and hit it from a different angle also.
Wow.
There's a lot. It's just a lot to it.
That just can't not sound sexual.
Oh, wait. Yes. Yeah.
I think I'd like to hit it from another angle.
Yeah. You know what? Let's flip this subject over and let's try to see if we can attack it from behind.
All right.
Yeah, pretty hot stuff down in the tropics. If you know what I mean. If you know what I mean. I mean, guys, a lot of very humid. So to speak. So in the world of tropical trees, there are a lot of I don't know, really desirable trees. And there's a lot of trees that are like, we don't really care about it.
Okay.
They grow, they're all in the forest, but instead of something like up in the Pacific Northwest here, where our best timber trees are also our native trees that grow fast, we can have an entire forest of hemlock or Douglas fir or western red cedar, and that'll grow up, and we can cut it down, we can replant an entire forest, and it'll grow back again.
Yeah.
In the tropics, that doesn't always work that way. For lots of different reasons, but most of the trees are not adapted to growing right next to each other. They grow way over there, and then the other one's way over there, then the other one's way over there.
Interesting.
So when you have a forest that's constantly growing all the time, as soon as you look away and you turn back around, the forest has grown in like 3 or 4 feet because there's no seasons down in a lot of the really wet tropical areas.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the dry tropical areas, because remember, the Amazon basin is very complicated. It's not just one big monolithic kind of space, right?
Yeah.
We think about it that way, but it's not. So down there, if you have a cut down a forest and you don't do anything with it, then it's going to grow back quickly.
Okay.
Because the season is always ripe for things to grow. So they're adapted to grow really fast.
But distant from each other?
No, just the whole forest. I'm talking about just one giant forest section of land.
Yeah. I was talking about the trees. You said the trees have evolved to grow kind of at a distance.
Yeah, well, I didn't say evolved, because I don't really know.
Adapted.
Adapted might be the right term. Yeah.
I think you did say adapted.
Okay. In some regard, the way it works out is that we just don't have a lot of the trees next to each other. Now, they are also really highly valued trees. So in order to go get those trees, you can't just say, we're going to cut down this grove of ipe trees and call it good. You have to go say, there's an ipe tree way over there. Then they cut this big, long road to that tree, or to a few of them. They cut it down.
Wow.
And then they log all the rest of that area for all the valuable trees.
Oh, my God.
Then they leave it. And then ranchers and other people come in. They cut down all of the rest of the non-valuable trees, and that they use for charcoal or something else. Then they turn the land into crops or grazing pastures for cows. And now we've lost the forest.
Wow.
But here's the other thing, is that the land, the actual physical soil, is so poor in most of the Amazon basin.
Wow.
Because of the amount of rain, that you can only grow a crop on it, or you can only feed animals with it for a few years before the nutrients in the soil are just completely gone.
Wow. I kind of always assumed the opposite, that it was
Yeah.
very fertile land.
Yeah, it's not, Alex. And that's kind of the interesting, really hard thing about the tropics, where if we cut down the rainforest, the biodiversity, the actual, the things that are nutritious, that are growing and sustaining everything, it's everything above ground. All of the stuff that lands and dies, it gets decayed really quickly and it goes back into the living trees.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't stay in the ground because the ground has been doused with water in much of these places for millions upon millions upon millions of years. Most of all the nutrients in the soil have already leached away.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a really it's a hard place to make a living as an agriculturalist, because everything will just completely be denuded of nutrients in no time.
Can I repeat all this back to you to make sure I'm on the right track
Yeah.
here?
Let's try it out.
So it's not like the soil is really full of nutrients and the trees are really happy because the soil is good.
Correct.
Though there's too much water for that. So the water rinses away the nutrients down into the deeper ground, I guess.
Yeah. Well, into the rivers and away.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what this is like is that top level, that topsoil is insanely rich.
Yes, like the organic layer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's currently decaying. And so the trees are just, and there's so much density of flora that they just instantly suck up anything that falls to the ground.
Yeah.
Not giving it time to sink into the soil and become the soil.
Yeah, the soil essentially doesn't really build up. Yeah, because of that.
Cool.
Yes, you got it basically right. That's pretty much it. Yes, so that creates a big issue with logging. So we have two things going on here. One, as soon as you find that one tree and you go out, there's unclaimed public land that then becomes, either if not actually claimed by a small farmer or some person to use as their own land, it at least becomes used as a small farm for a little while before the soil is completely denuded, and then they leave, and then the soil in the forest has to take decades to work itself back in.
Wow, okay.
The reason it takes more is because at least some of the soil was okay enough where the plants could come back.
But slowly.
In a certain amount of time, if you cut down a forest, that you do what's called slash and burn down there. Mm-hmm. Slash all the trees down, you burn it. There's a little quick jump of nutrients from all the ash and everything. Then it'll grow back. And if you use that land for a few years, then you're not going to degrade the soil too much and then let it turn back into a forest. Everything's okay.
Use it as farmland for a few years?
Correct.
But not like 15 years?
Exactly. Not for a really long time.
Okay.
Yeah. So then if you do that for a really long time, you denude the soil enough to where the forest doesn't come back quickly. Okay. Certainly not in the same complexity or diversity as what it was before.
Why do they want to use it as farmland if the soil isn't great?
Because it's kind of get in and get out. You know, if you got nothing, something, even if it's a short-term thing, is going to be better than nothing.
Okay.
So if you're a poor farmer, you're like, great, I can go grow some cows and I can sell those cows and I can make some money. I can live off of it. And then I'll move on to the next place and I'll use that land up and then I'll use that land up. It's a huge, that's why it's a big issue, right?
So like the logging companies sell the land to the farmers?
No, it's all public land, I think, for the most part.
So it's kind of squatters' rights. You just kind of come in and plant and...
Exactly. And now this is why we have to do this in more than one episode, because that also doesn't really even talk about the indigenous people that have lived down there for a long time. It doesn't talk about land use, if it's protected space. Like, it gets really intense really quickly in terms of what is okay and what is not. In fact, you guys, everyone out there should go listen to our Brazil nut episode where we talked a lot about this.
Yeah.
So that is like, it's an issue that's very sticky on every side, right?
Interesting.
Now, on the other side of that is the demand for this tree. So why is it worth the time and money for everyone to go out there and find those one single trees that are growing out there?
The wood must be both extremely functional and beautiful.
It is both of those things.
There you go. See, I kind of have my finger on the pulse in the woodworking community.
You really do. You really do. I always thought that about you.
For someone who struggled whittling a spoon.
Well, at least you didn't cut your finger open.
That's true. In front of our esteemed guest.
I know. I felt like an idiot.
No.
All right, thanks. All right, so give me your best guess as to the Janka hardness of this tree.
Okay, just off the top of my head, 2,660.
You're extremely close. Man, do we have the same notes open?
No. Well, I'm looking at something called the pink lapacho.
Okay, which is the same tree. It should be the same scientific name, but there's also another very closely related tree that is Andranthus ceratofolius, I believe is what it is. Both are marketed, as well as a bunch of other species in closely related genre that are all marketed as ipe trees.
Serrated leaves.
That's exactly what that means, yeah. So this, according to the Wood Database, which is one of my favorite websites, everyone go to it and hang out, buy the book. It is a Janka hardness of 2,660 pounds. For those of you in the physics world, that's 11,850 newtons.
And as a reminder of what Janka hardness is, it's essentially the weight, the pressure it takes to push like a 1 centimeter steel ball.
Yes.
To push that into a piece of this wood.
Halfway through.
Yes, that's right.
Precisely.
Up to its halfway point. So it takes 2,660 pounds of force.
Yes, pounds foot. So it's pound feet. So essentially, it's amount of force over a certain square footage.
Okay.
But yes.
To push down on this ball to press it into the wood. That's extremely hard.
It is super hard. But I will also note, in terms of like its power rankings, it's only like 16th in terms of popular wood.
Wow.
So just in case you guys, again, go to the Wood Database and just sit and explore for a little while.
The Wood Database is not unlike the Internet Movie Database. IMDb.
You think so?
They have rankings. They have...
It's true. You can go choose the wood. Which one is best? You know, was this a good cast compared to this?
Yeah, you can see who played this wood in the film adaptation.
It's true. You totally can. I think it's so good. This is it's a wood that is super, super hard. And it's so hard that let me just make sure I get this right so I don't end up saying something silly. It is 5 times as heavy as old growth redwood.
5 times as heavy
Yes.
as old growth redwood.
Precisely.
Wow.
So that, and it's specifically old growth, because you can have redwood that's growing very fast and it has huge rings. Old growth trees, and if you ever get like used dimensional lumber from an old house built before we cut down all of our old growth trees, all of the wood has rings in it that are like minuscule, like less than a millimeter, because it's growing really slowly and has for literally decades or centuries. That makes the wood really heavy and very dense.
Wow.
So a board today versus a board from 80 or 100 years ago, same exact board, same size, same everything, same tree even, they will be wildly different in terms of their characteristics, because one was naturally made with these teeny rings over hundreds of years. The other was made in maybe 50 years with really wide rings.
Okay.
So take the oldest redwood old growth trees with the tightest rings. It is decay resistant. It is very much stays straight, keeps its dimensions. It doesn't really twist around or anything like that. Beautiful wood. This tree, our 𝘱𝘱𝘯𝘰𝘢𝘯𝘵, is 3 to 5 times that. Is that not just so crazy?
That's wild.
That's such hard wood. It dulls your blades or your saws as you're going through and like cutting them.
Do they have to use special like mithril saws?
If they had them, probably, yeah. I have heard of like diamond plated or like diamond encrusted, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's called bedazzled.
Bedazzled chainsaws. Yeah, I think I have heard of those. But for the most part, you just have to sharpen it again, just much more quickly.
I see. Yeah, actually, Casey, the pink 𝘱𝘱𝘯𝘏𝘢.
Yeah.
Very different wood than the 𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘏. I clicked on 𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘏 now.
Yes. Okay.
Not very different, but the 𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘏 is, to me, much more beautiful wood. Not that it's a competition.
Yes. Okay, that's very fair.
But,
Although
yeah.
I do see that they are also called multiple things. So the common name is pink 𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘏𝘱, 𝘱𝘱𝘱, pink trumpet tree, all has the same scientific name.
We're looking at different things.
We're looking at different trees,
Anyway,
Alex.
this wood is gorgeous.
It is beautiful, beautiful wood.
So what are we using this wood for?
We are using this wood for decking.
Yeah.
Every time I've
How
read
exciting.
that, I'm just like, wait, what? You're kidding me.
All that for a nice deck.
For a nice deck.
For your bistro.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of absurd, but that is what it is. Like, the Coney Island boardwalk in New York, as well as the High Line. Are you familiar with the High Line in New York?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, this beautiful park that is like on an old subway raised platform.
Yeah.
And they turned it into this nice little walking park. It's beautiful. I've been there and it's lovely. The boards that you're walking on, many of them at least, are this species of tree.
That's
the 𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘱𝘱.
wild. It's internationally loved. I've never even fucking heard of it.
Like 60% of the wood that is harvested in Brazil, which is where it's mostly harvested from, the tropical trees, the big tall ones in the forest, right up to the United States.
We're the biggest importer of this wood, I'm guessing?
Yep, that's right.
I wonder if that's still the case.
It probably is.
With the
I would be
tariffs
the
and
guess. Yeah, I would assume so, but without tariffs, probably yes. We're still, if we just go back to kind of what the world was like before 6 months ago.
Yeah.
My guess is these were still 100%. Because I was reading an article from, I think, the mid 2010s or something.
Okay. Yeah. So a hard wood that is heavy and used for decking. Now, decks, if I know my floors, deck is kind of an outside floor.
I like to think that you do know your floors, and so far you've proved me right.
Thank you.
They are. They're outside. So they also need to be resistant to the weather, decay, insects, all that kind of stuff.
And that just comes from, this is such a fascinating thing to me that like if you want weather resistant, decay resistant wood, you have to get it from a tree that is weather and decay resistant.
Yeah.
I know it's like very simple logic, but it's just one of those like mental connections I didn't make until recently.
Totally. I think it's very fair. I think you are speaking for the majority of people. They just think, oh, it's wood. It's not going to decay, right? And it's like, well, it will. Just like any other tree, because trees are made of wood.
If you make something out of willow wood.
Yeah. Like, don't make it a deck, or else you're going to fall through it in a matter of months.
But yeah, that's interesting, Case.
Yeah. So you have to get it from that. You can stain the wood, but people are trying to get away from that in certain instances, because in the case of, say, the High Line, They don't want to go out and maintain it all the time. They don't want the possibility that they're going to miss it and be like, oh, well, that one is decayed through. Someone's going to fall into it. They forget to do some amount of maintenance, right?
Just let it go raw.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can get a tree that's just not going to decay, it does the job for you. Maintaining it is not even relevant to the situation. Go and make sure it's not broken or something like that. But if the tree's just going to sit there and not decay, cool, problem solved.
You know, it is kind of like it's a not letdown. It's a little anticlimactic.
Yeah.
It's like this gorgeous tree, this incredible wood. It's like, oh, it's used for decking.
It is. It feels anticlimactic.
Okay.
And the stat that I should share with you is that there is one mature tree located between 3 to 10 hectares. So you'll have one tree. Now, let me tell you this. That is one tree per 300,000 to 1 million square feet.
Wow.
Which is kind of silly that they didn't do anything in between square feet and hectares.
I know.
But whatever.
That's wild. Wow.
Yeah, so it's a very rare specimen tree.
I imagine this was, I mean, are there like sanctions on this in the same way as that Brazilian, what is it called? Brazilian, I want to say wormwood. That's not it. You know, that Brazilian wood that's like illegal?
Yes. Are you thinking mahogany?
I don't think so.
Rosewood.
Maybe Brazilian rosewood, yeah.
Teak. Ebony.
I already said that it was Brazilian rosewood.
Now I just started naming trees.
Casey got off on a whole thing.
It is. It's very similar. In fact, one of the articles that I was reading about specifically calls this the new mahogany.
Wow.
So all the other trees that we were naming, rosewood, which is 𝘏𝘀𝘯𝘯𝘵, they are all protected under CITES. Are you familiar with CITES?
Sounds like a minion from the gates of hell. And
Okay. Well, that is essentially
Cerberus and CITES.
Cerberus and CITES. Ooh, don't go down to CITES. CITES is going to get you. Which is essentially the international trade regulator for endangered species.
Oh, cool.
So it's from the
specific.
UN. It is. It's very specific because it's talking about mostly trees or animals or animal parts or tree parts that you would sell, like the teaks and the rosewoods and all the fancy trees.
Elephant ivory.
Exactly.
Okay.
Except that I think is completely like 100% no.
Yeah.
But yes, if it was able to be sold, and if there are some that can be sold, it has to go through this process or this kind of organization. So what they essentially do is they say, we are going to declare this tree as endangered or threatened or something like that. Then they say how much of it and what size can be harvested per a certain area, and that area has to be fully regulated with a management plan that's approved by us. Or another like smaller, maybe deputized organization.
And this is an international society?
It is. It's through the United Nations, yeah.
Wow, okay.
So it's a big deal. And it makes it so that if we are up here in the United States, and we want to get some of this wood, there's a specialty wood shop here in Portland. You can go get all sorts of crazy stuff. If you go there, then they will have to have a trail of paperwork that says where each one of these trees came from.
Oh my gosh.
Like not only where did you buy it from, but where did they get it from?
Yeah.
Who shipped it over? Where did they get it from? And was that an approved place based on all these other regulations?
Crazy.
It gets really intense. And unfortunately, it's just not really good enough. It's better than nothing, but it's not good enough.
Okay.
There's loopholes because some trees look exactly like another tree.
Sure.
So it's like, well, I'm not going to get out my tiny little microscopic lens to test to see if I can see the particular differences or go do a DNA test. Sometimes they do if it's big enough, but it's more like a random smattering almost kind of thing.
Interesting.
So with this tree, it was not regulated for a long time. And then they started to regulate 𝘏𝘀𝘯𝘯𝘶, the rosewoods.
Okay.
So they said, we are now going to fully put the entire genus on to the endangered list.
Wow.
And now all of the trees in that genus are regulated intensely.
Okay.
So they said, well, what's the next best tree? And they did this also with mahoganies and all these kinds of things. And now 𝘏𝘏𝘯𝘏 has had a giant amount of desire for it because everyone's like, well, we can't get these trees, so let's get that one. So it ends up basically
Wow.
having the same kind of traits as all these other big, giant tropical forest trees.
Okay.
And that has now basically put it on the map.
The kill list.
Exactly.
Okay.
So literally the name of one of the articles, I think, was a trail of stumps. That's how you can find these trees.
Wow.
It's like, oh God. So more recently,
of course, a play on a Trail of Tears.
oh, I don't know. Honestly,
Okay, that's kind of what I.
yeah. I don't think that it might have been ultimately, but the person in the article who initially said that was from Brazil, and they were just talking about like locating a tree.
Okay.
So I don't think they were making
Look
that
for the
reference.
Trail of Stumps.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's how you're going to find where these trees are
Gotcha.
at.
Ooh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I
don't-
cringed when you said that.
No, I don't think that was quite the reference they were making.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
But that's the thing, is that so many of these trees started to get cut down that now the entire genus Hendroanthus is now on that list as
Wow.
well. So now they are being regulated to that extent, that intense degree, just like the other ones.
And now loggers are feverishly licking their lips and rubbing their hands together, looking for the next genus.
Looking for the
to
next
ruin.
one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that awful?
That sucks.
Yeah, but the other thing about this tree is that it is very highly medicinal. So
Wow.
it adds to the like, well, maybe we should be using this tree because it's like we're going to be using all parts of it because there's like cancer fighting things in the bark. There are anti-inflammatory properties to a bunch of different parts of it. So like it's a tree that's been used in teas for indigenous uses for ever and ever and ever.
Wow.
But for the most part, in order to cut down one of those trees, they would just have to take rocks that are sharpened, so like actual stone, which was very rare in the Amazon basin. Like you just cannot find rocks.
Really?
They're just not there very much. You have to like
Okay.
go up to the highlands kind of surrounding it to find
Funny.
it. It's a very rare thing. I was very surprised when I learned this. But they basically have to use those stones, sharpen them down a little bit, and then bash them against the tree until the tree falls over.
Wow.
Now imagine doing that on a 3-foot diameter tree that's harder than stone. You know?
It's essentially like Neanderthalian stone tools.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you have.
Damn.
So a lot of these trees
Wow.
were used in a completely different way. They didn't cut them down
Sure.
near as much. Or if they did, it was a lot of work.
That's a community effort.
It really is. Yeah.
Over a few weeks, probably.
Exactly. You're going to stay there for a while.
Or you could just strip the bark and make a tea. That's good too.
And I think I'm just going to do that. That's going to be the better idea. So anyway, this is a tree that I was just kind of kept on going down rabbit holes with and being like, wow, okay, so this is like the newest endangered tree for
Yeah.
the wood products industry.
Yeah.
That still has a whole bunch of things going on with the complexities of tropical logging and agriculture. And then it's also this tree that has these wonderful properties that have been used for years and years, which of course we just kind of glossed over. Then it's also this amazing tree that's used in the horticulture trade. You can find it planted everywhere. It's very popular.
And just naturally, it's gorgeous and huge.
So how can you be all those things at once, Alex?
You ask, how can this tree be all those things at once, Casey? And I think we will answer that with our review. We'll give it a numerical score.
If it's under 5, there's no way it can be all these things at once. If it's over 5, okay, we can maybe be those things.
And we will find out what it gets after a quick break. We'll be right back here on Completely Arbitrary's Tropical Vacation. Welcome back to Completely Arbitrary's Tropical Vacation. We're going to give the 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘯𝘵𝘪𝘯𝘀 a rating, goddammit. And here's how it works. We're going to give some final thoughts on this tree and then give it a rating of 0 to 10 golden palm fronds of honor.
Oh, golden palm fronds, because we're in the tropics.
That's right.
Well, you know what? My tropics are dry deciduous, okay?
Or we could do sorry. I didn't react enough to that.
Yeah, well,
Casey did a blue steel at my TV.
I did. That wasn't blue steel. That was me being, I don't know, a princess. That's what I did.
We could also give it a 0 to 10 golden, what was I going to say? Golden, like, Mai Tais of honor.
Oh,
we are on vacation after all.
We are on vacation, yeah. So we need a tropical drink to sit by the pool with.
Yeah, I'll break my 5 years of sobriety for that.
Well, it doesn't need to be an alcoholic
That's
drink.
true. I can get a Shirley Temple or whatever.
No, get a Mai Tai. Just don't put any rum in it. Oh, Alex is having such a hard time right now. Well, how can you get him
Right now.
Okay.
Casey, as a resident expert, we'll begin with you.
I guess we'll just get a tropical Shirley Temple.
They couldn't possibly not put rum in that drink.
No, they would just look at you and be like, I don't know what to do here. Okay, so the 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘮𝘀𝘀𝑎𝑛thus 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘏𝑥𝑖𝑛𝑔𝑚𝑝𝑒𝑡𝑢𝑖𝑛𝑔𝑚𝑒𝑠𝑖𝑎. God, I cannot say that name. I've tried so hard for literally 3 days.
Just call it the 𝘏𝑢𝑰, man.
I'm just going to call it the 𝘏𝑢𝑰.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex. I
𝘏𝑢𝑰
appreciate
and
that.
call it quits.
𝘏𝑢𝑰 and call it quits. So the 𝘏𝑢𝑰 for me is, I don't know, it's kind of a, I don't know, it's almost an enigma tree for me. And I don't know why. Like, I don't feel like I've gotten to know it really well.
Because there's so much to know.
I guess there is so much to know, but it's always, I don't know, whenever I've read through it, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. But I'm like, you still seem mysterious to me, man. Like,
that's cool.
Yeah, I almost feel like I need to go back and like redo another like whole section of research to be like, tell me more. Like, why is it like this? What does it do? And I know like all these things because we've talked about why some trees make really hard wood and put their extractives inside to make them decay resistant. We've talked about all these 1,000 times, but this tree in particular, for whatever reason, just seems mysterious to me still. Like the flowers are big and beautiful, but it doesn't produce fruit that really loves to be eaten.
Yeah.
You know? Some things will eat the little nutlet seeds that are in there, but it's not really a super wildly edible thing.
Sure.
And it has these like medicinal properties, but it's also like a gigantic tree. Usually a lot of the medicinal trees are easy to harvest. Like you can go and collect them or they're kept low or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But this one gets gigantic. So it's like, how do you guys do this? How does it work? And it grows so rarely where you have to go out and find these individual things. So like, I feel like we could do an entire like season talking about this tree and all these other like little facets of it and how those interact. I have to go down to just some bare basics for it.
Yeah.
One, it's a big tree, and I love a big tree. I love a big tree that is also hard to knock over. This is a tree that will dull your saws, which I think is good. The thing that I really love about it, though, is the flowers. Like,
Yeah.
I just love these flowers. Like, I just really cannot get enough of them. I love catalpa flowers. They just got done blooming, one species. Another will be out in just a little bit. And I just love them. I just love them. I just want to look at them all day. I want to take pictures of them. I want to sit in them. I wish I was the size of a bee to just sit in there and be like, this is nice.
That would be great.
It would be great. So that is kind of the level that I am at. So I'm going to give this tree, also because it's drought deciduous and then it blooms when its leaves are gone. So it's just like, hey, what's up? Pow!
Yeah. Center stage. Get every other actor off stage.
Exactly. So I think with this and noting that there are some other things that I'm very curious about, they could probably raise the score up. I'm giving it a straight 7.5. I know it sounds low, but that for me feels right. Because like I said, it still is a mystery to me.
Your palm fronds are your own, Casey.
Thank you. That really flows off the tongue.
I know it's, we're losing our steam here.
We're losing our steam.
First episode of the series. What's going on?
No, it's all right. It's all right. Give me another Mai Tai. We're gonna fucking do it.
Casey and I are both very tired. That's what's going on.
Yeah, our 2-week vacation was just 2 weeks of doing other work.
Yes,
Good for us.
our side projects. Completely Arbortrary has turned into a bit of a side project.
Well, it's been a sideshow this whole time. Let me tell you that.
Oh, Casey. 7.5 Palm Fronds of Honor from Casey Clapp for the 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘏𝘏𝘀𝑢𝑰.
I thought you were telling me your score, and I was like, Alex, what?
Oh, no. I have some things to say. Let me start with this.
Okay, begin.
Imagine you start dating a new woman. New to you. And she's like, I love all these movies and I love reading books.
New to you.
And not like new to Earth, She's not a baby or an alien.
Okay.
And I love all these books. And you're like, wow, okay, cool. And she's also like, but I also love history.
Okay.
Going to museums.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, okay, cool. And then she's like, but I also love to barbecue. I'm like really good at barbecuing. I'm like, wow, okay, you really are you're a Renaissance woman here.
Yeah.
And then 3 weeks in, you're like totally grooving. And then you find out she's like a championship bowler. I'm like, wow, what the hell? You do this too, and you're really good at it? This is my take on the 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘏𝘏, Casey. Let me explain.
Really?
You started describing this tree. I was like, wow, this is a big, beautiful tree. And I mean big, and I mean beautiful. That's worth a good score on its own.
Yeah.
And what's that? It has medicinal properties used to fight cancer. hey, that's worth a good score on its own.
Yeah.
And what's that? It has a beautiful...
Just keeps going.
It has a beautiful flower that's so gorgeous. And I see that this little parrot-looking guy is
Yeah, there's like a little cockatoo there or something.
Yeah, eating a flower, which is maybe the most adorable thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
This tree is this is a Renaissance tree.
I see.
And I love that in a person. I myself am a bit of a Renaissance man, Casey.
I agree.
Single. And I gotta give this tree. Oh, the other, of course, famous for woodworking, used for all these important wood projects.
Yeah.
Great for decking, which is one of my greatest passions in the world.
You do love making a hard deck.
Hard deck.
Huh? What did you say?
So I'm going to give this tree an 8.5.
8.5.
Golden Palm Fronds of Honor.
Golden Palm Fronds of Honor.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That's a good one, Case.
This is a good tree. I think it's such an interesting tree. I need to go see it.
Do it.
I need to go sit next to it. I need to go sit in one of those little flowers. Get to know it.
Definitely.
So if anyone's got the machine from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I could borrow it. It'd be really great.
Honey, I Shrunk Casey. Casey,
oh no!
That was our review of the 𝘏𝘢𝘯𝘮, and it's time for a game.
Whoa! All right, what's our game today, Alex?
This is, of course, a very fun one.
Are you gonna sing us a song?
Maybe. Called Slang Game.
Oh, the Slang Game.
Slang. It's the language of the people. Slang. Make sure you know what it means. Slang. Before saying it out loud. Slang. Slang. That's enough. Stop, David Bowie.
David, honestly, never stop David.
Burn or Bowie.
Did you hear how good I did those backup vocals?
You did. You came in a little late, though, Casey.
No,
I wanted you
didn't.
on the first ones.
I did it.
Oh, maybe I just didn't hear. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Okay.
Well, I was meeting the tone so perfectly.
Okay. This is Slang Game Music Edition.
Music edition.
That's right.
What?
I have 5 obscure musical terms.
I'm shutting my computer.
Thank you. And I'm going to give them to you, and we are going to try to figure out what that term would mean in a tree context.
In a tree context. Yeah, okay.
So this could be, arboriculture, forestry, or biology, etc. Dendrology.
Okay.
And then I will tell, after we decide what it might be in the tree context, I'll tell you what it actually means.
Okay, and then we're just going to sing David Bowie.
Yeah, I think we'll a little Life on Mars.
That's my go-to karaoke song.
That's great. First term, Case.
Mm-hmm. Okay, hit me.
Tessitura.
Tessitura.
Lots of consonants in there. Tessitura. A tessitura.
A tessitura, as in it's a noun.
Oh, well, sure. But it doesn't have to be.
For me, it doesn't sound like it. For me, tessitura almost sounds like a specific epithet. Like, that's Quercus tessitura.
Totally.
That's how I see it.
Especially in written, sheet music terminology. Like, it'll instruct you to do things like andante is like, go this tempo.
Yes. Yeah.
All written in Italian, which is, of course, the Latin language.
Okay, so it all comes together is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Well,
Tessitura.
If it was tessitura, for me, I would say that it's a descriptor about how the part in question spirals.
Interesting.
That's what I see. So Quercus tessitura is the spiral branched oak.
Yeah.
It spirals out for whatever reason just to grow around something.
Cool. Wonderful, Case.
Yeah, what do you got?
I think a tessitura is kind of like the cavity that a fungus leaves after it dies out,
And it eats up whatever it's eaten up.
Yeah. And it's like this little pocket in the wood. Like these are tessitura.
Oh, dude, there's
plural.
okay, so then there's got to be a singular.
Tessiturus.
Tessiturum.
Well, tessitura is sort of the comfortable range, the ideal range of notes for any given instrument or voice.
Oh, I see.
So clarinet has has a wide range. It can play really, really high. It can play really low. But right in the middle there is where the instrument is most comfortable and resonant.
I see.
So a tessitura is like the sweet spot.
So would you say play in tessitura?
You could say come up with a melody in the tessitura.
Oh, I see.
Like, don't go crazy high or low, just like a nice even.
Yeah, right in there.
Yeah.
I love that.
There you go.
Give me some tessitura. I got to start using that. Like, you know what? I'm really not in my tessitura right now.
Yeah.
So I want everyone to calm down.
Exactly. Mercury's in tessitura. I can't come to the meeting.
I can't do that.
That comes from a Latin for texture.
Really? Okay. Yeah, I'm with
Which
it.
sort of works. The next term is morendo.
Morendo.
Morendo. Morendo.
Ooh.
I'll go first on this one.
Yeah, please.
I think morendo is the common name of like a berry shrub, a shrub that produces like small, kind of dark red berries. Morendo, like the hillsides covered in blackberries and morendo.
Oh, there's just blackberries morendo. Okay, yeah, I like that. I can see that for sure. The first thing I thought about is like, I think it was a fruit. So like, I think you're covered in blackberries and morendo. It could be like two different names. Like the name of the plant is the name of the fruit. Because I was thinking like, oh, there's morendo there. But I honestly was thinking under the ground. It's like maybe a root nodule.
Oh, sure.
Morendo.
Yeah. Well, that's very fitting, Casey.
All you got to do is dig around.
Because morendo, mor, M-O-R, is death in Latin, right? Like mortem.
Oh, yes.
So being under the ground
is death. I'm like, what?
Less is more and more is death.
So what does that mean? How do we live our lives?
So a morendo is a notation in sheet music that means to decrease the tempo and the volume until it fades away completely.
I see. Yeah.
So you'd have to slow down and play quieter as an orchestra.
Wow, that's hard. Morendo.
And it, of course, comes from the Italian for dying.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's good.
Casey, our next word is anacrusis.
Anacrusis.
This to me sounds the most like tree word.
You think so?
Like an anacrusis.
What comes to mind?
Oh boy.
Anacrusis.
I want to say kind of the form of a tree.
Okay.
I think I'm taking that from like crucifixion as in a cross,
okay.
you know?
Sure.
Like it grows straight up and straight out. It's anacrusis.
Yeah, okay.
Potentially.
All right. See, what I'm thinking is like it's a symptom of a disease. Or it's a disease itself.
Wow.
We're like,
sure.
Ooh, that tree's got anacrusis.
Yeah.
Get out from underneath it now.
See all those red spots?
Yeah, that's all anacrusis right there.
That sounds good.
You're
I like
going to need
that.
to kill this tree.
Yeah. So an anacrusis is kind of a fancy word that nobody really uses. The word we use in the music business is...
It's pronounced biz, Alex.
Excuse me, in the music biz, is a pickup. So a pickup note is like the note right before, or a series of notes right before the emphasized note on the downbeat.
Okay.
So if you go ba-da-bum, bum, 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 that ba-dum at the very beginning is a pickup. Ba-da-bum, bum, ba-dum,
that's the anacrusis.
That's the pickup or the anacrusis.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
And that comes from the Greek for it's kind of a mess, the etymology of this one.
Yeah.
But essentially to strike up.
To strike up.
Yeah. Like
so
kind of get it started.
Yeah. Okay.
Or so prelude.
Strike up, get it done. The anacrusis. So maybe the anacrusis could be the fungal network that the tree's just about to get into.
Sure.
Like, when you plant that tree, first it's got to find the anacrusis, then it'll start growing.
Yeah. It's the receptor nodules.
Exactly. It's everything that's in the ready for the new roots to go to get it started up in earnest.
I like that.
I love this.
Casey, next term is flattament.
Flattament?
F-L-A-T-T-E.
That is a tree fart.
M-E-N-T. Okay.
It's from the leaves. It's when the leaves smell really bad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Flattament?
Yeah.
Oof.
Ooh.
A lot of flattament.
Yeah, there's a lot of flattament coming from that tree.
Use it in a sentence, Case.
Yeah. So I was walking up the street and I smelled the flattament and I was like, this is a tree of heaven.
Casey, the flattament is... This is so specific, but it is the finger vibrato on a flute.
The finger vibrato on a flute, which makes the flute... What does it do?
You know, it's covered in holes.
Yeah.
You use your finger to sort of like go off and on the hole a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Now tell me about the flute.
Skin flute.
Oh, get out of here, Alex. This is a nice show, okay?
This is a nice show. Thanks. And that comes from the French, meaning to flatter or caress.
Ooh,
So you're kind of flattering the hole, so to speak.
That is so good. Yeah, flatter my hole, Xerxes.
Caress my flute holes.
Oh, that is the most sexual. Of course, it comes from French.
Of course.
Yes,
yeah.
you're going to need to flatter the hole a little bit on the flute.
Last term, Casey.
Okay, what do we got?
Barcarolle.
Barcarolle.
Or you can say barcarolle.
Yeah, this is the German one?
No, I think, I'm not sure what this is.
Okay.
Oh, it's Italian.
Barcarolle?
It's of Italian origin.
Okay.
Barcarolle.
Barcarolle.
Or probably barcarolle. Yeah.
Barcarolle.
Barcarolle.
It says bark right in it.
I know, it's tough.
So that makes me want to think this has something to do with bark. But this would be like, I don't know. Ooh, yeah, this is just going to be straight up. It is the part of the bark that peels back on bark that is exfoliating. So it is the barcarolle.
I see. It's very good.
I am very proud of myself, and I have no more additions to this episode. The barcarolle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, just look at the barcarolle and tell me what color it is, and then you'll know the species.
I'll go with that one. That's good.
Okay, good. What does barcarolle actually mean?
You'll like this. This is a traditional Venetian song.
Okay.
From, of course, Venice. Sung by gondoliers. So it's sort of like a style of gondolier song.
I see.
And barcarolle, literally translated, means boat song.
It's a boat song, a barcarolle.
It's a bit of a sea shanty.
I love that.
Bit of a canal shanty.
But sang as a canalman taking lovers down the canal.
Yes.
There's a lot of love making in this game.
Music is very sexual.
It really is.
It really is. Have you seen Amadeus?
Have you seen Amadeus?
Casey, that was Slang Game.
I love that. Honestly, I feel like I learn new ways of looking at life that way.
That is kind of the point of the game, honestly.
Yeah, it is really fun.
That's I've always seen that as my centric role on the show.
Yeah.
My central role on the show is to like offer a different perspective on things I don't know anything about.
That is 100% what I agree with, where we always come at it from two different angles, and it makes me quite happy.
Yeah, there you go.
Well-rounded.
Casey.
Pat ourselves on the back.
Yeah, we're the best podcast in the world. Go subscribe to the Supercast, arbitrarypod.supercast.com, which is where we get our AMA questions, which is what it's time for now. Casey.
What do we got today, Alex?
This week, Casey, we got one from Ian.
Hi, Ian.
Hi, Ian. Ian says, I saw some fake plants the other day and was thinking about some scientific names for them.
Oh, okay.
I came up with Pseudoplantica falciana.
Okay.
If you guys had to give a fake plant a scientific name, what would it be?
Ooh, I do love Pseudoplantis. That's a good one.
Pseudoplantis is good.
Yeah.
Is plantis, though, Latin for a plant?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it would be, because I think it's plante is the the big kingdom kind of thing.
Okay. I think plante.
I think plante is at least correct. Yeah. So, well, the first question is it an angiosperm or is it a false conifer?
Let's say angiosperm.
Okay.
Naked seed.
It is still.
Oh, wait.
I like pseudo something. Pseudo's. No. I think that name cannot be. I don't think it can be improved upon.
I just want to say, I said naked seed earlier.
Yeah.
To do with angiosperm.
Yeah.
But an angiosperm
is covered seed.
Is a clothed seed.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, I am sorry.
Thank you.
And I must do better.
I should have also been doing better. I was listening and I was like, oh,
it went right by you.
You did. And I did not, I was just like, yeah, he got that right. Nope. And I didn't look any further.
Nope.
Wow. I'm taking my pat on the back away. You can keep yours if you want, but that's on your conscience.
That pat is on your back.
Not mine. Okay. So
I think we have to get more specific than pseudoplante.
It's got to be, broad. False plant. It doesn't quite get us there.
No, because every fake plant is a false plant.
Yeah, so if we have false, fake, okay. So
let's say like a fake fig.
Yeah, I also like, what is plastic? Is there anything for plastic that's Latin at all? Okay, you say a fake fig.
Plastic in Latin is plastic.
It's because it didn't exist as a term back then.
What about oil is oleum?
Oil is oleum?
Plastic is made from oil.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I like fake leaf. That really speaks to me.
So
it would be like pseudofolius or like fake folius, fake folium.
Also, to mimic
Yes.
in Latin is ludicro.
Ooh, ludicofolius would be the specific epithet.
A ludicro.
Ludicro.
Ludicrofolius.
Ludicrofolius.
Ludicrofolius. I think you got to emphasize the dick. Sorry. As is my want.
Ludicofolius.
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 Yeah. Flows off the tongue better.
It really does. It really
The dick
does.
flows off the tongue way better.
It makes the whole thing much more easy to take.
Thank you.
Okay. So ludicofolius.
Ludicrofolius.
Ludicrofolius?
Ludicrofolius.
Ludicrofolius.
Yes.
That's our specific epithet.
Okay.
So now we got to come up with a genus.
I know. Well, I want to say like just ficus,
Yeah.
Ficus ludicrofolius.
But that would be okay. So
it's mimicking a fig plant.
It is okay. All right. I'm with that. But then,
but we can also be more creative.
because it's still that denotes that it's a real fig that's mimicking another fig.
Yeah. So
That
should we?
is the thing. Well, but also the whole thing is that it's mimicking a leaf, but it's not mimicking a particular leaf. It's just saying we're mimicking a leaf. So it's just a fake generic leaf.
Right. So we need the genus to I think that's why I said ficus. So it's like this is the ficus, fake leafed ficus. Right?
I see. Okay.
So it needs some sort of title to it.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So if we think about the title first in English, then we can translate it over, is what I'm hearing from you. Great idea.
Sure.
So if it is fake houseplant, it is a plastic plant, it is a artificial. Maybe we can work with artificial.
There's also home in Latin is domus.
So
it's
maybe
like
it's
the
like
home plant, but also you can have real plants in your home.
that is true.
Really
yeah, we can have those. Is there something for artificial? Is that can we go do that in Latin? Artificialis.
Artificialis.
Maybe we can just keep it at that.
That'd be good.
The artificial leaf mimicking thing.
Fictus is fake.
Is it?
I like fictus
That's perfect.
because that kind of sounds like ficus.
It does. Okay, I love that, and that also gives us a little callback. Okay,
We could call it fictus.
fictus. We can. Okay, so fictus, ludicrofolius.
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 Yeah.
Fictus ludicrofolius.
Fictus ludicrofolius.
Say that one 10 times fast, you peons.
I think we nailed it.
Fictus ludicrofolius.
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 Fictus ludicrofolius.
You're adding a T in there.
What?
You're saying ludictro.
Ludicro.
Ludicrofolius.
Ludicrofolius.
Yeah.
Fictus ludicrofolius.
Perfect.
Yes. Okay, we did it. Oh, if you are still with us, thanks, guys.
So that is a fake.
That is an fake leaf mimicking
fig.
I love that. Ian,
Wonderful.
Great question. Don't ever ask it again. It's too hard.
You heard the man, Ian. If you've got a question for us that you want to make terrible radio with, become a Treemium member at arbitrarypod.supercast.com. You can sign up for a couple of different tiers. Of course, our favorite tier is the Cone Club. You sign up and pay a monthly fee, and we send you, I'll say a monthly support, because that's what it is.
It is a support. It is supporting us.
It's not going to our shareholders. It's going to Casey's and I rent.
We are the shareholders.
That's right. And there's the Cone Club. We send you monthly cone stickers, but I will say botanical stickers because we're kind of branching out with some leaves and flowers and such.
That's right. The one that is in the middle of being printed right now is the Scratch and Sniff. That is the Bradford pear.
Yeah, you have to scratch really hard.
Yeah, like
and
get into
sniff
it.
really hard.
Yeah, and make sure that you're doing it in springtime around a calorie pear.
Or you can kind of do it manually if you know what I mean.
Yeah, if you just flattermount the flute a little bit, you'll get
Just
it.
caress those flute holes. And Casey, this next month's, I believe, is the loblolly pine.
I love the loblolly pine.
And here's the thing. I know you won't like this, so this is why I'm telling you on mic.
Uh-oh.
So that you can't be mad at me in front of our friends. It's by the same artist as the Bradford pear.
I hate that artist. Why did you do
I
that?
only say that because we're back-to-backing artists. I don't think we've ever done that.
Oh, we certainly have. I wouldn't mind about that at all.
Maybe Landflug, but Lauren Mitchell, one of my favorite artists we've ever worked with, did a loblolly pine, and it's just gorgeous.
It really is.
So you're going to get back-to-back Lauren Mitch, and I'm happy about that.
As am I.
And that is the conclusion of our first episode of Completely Arbitrary's Tropical Vacation.
And I'm sweating like a horse in here.
What's going on?
Oh, it's so hot and
Is
humid.
it warm? Oh, sorry.
It's tropical.
Yes, Casey, of
My
course.
hut is very breezy.
Yes, and I'm hot too.
Very good, Alex. Very good.
And next week, we've got a fun one, a tree that I certainly have never, ever heard of, the Cook Island pine.
That's right.
How fun.
Now, are those tropical? Yes.
All right.
Nice. I'm like, well, now that we're saying this, does that grow there?
Whoops.
Yeah, it does. It appears to grow in Polynesia. So all of my research, well done.
Nice.
But initially I was just like, we're going to do this tree that maybe sort of feels tropical, but doesn't really grow in the tropics.
Oh,
But then, just did my research. We're good.
we subconsciously nailed it.
As we always do.
All right, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next time right here on Completely Arbitrary's Tropical Vacation. Bye.
See ya. Completely Arbitrary is hosted by Casey Clapp and Alex Crowson.
Our music is by Aves and the Mini Vandals, and our artwork is by Jillian Barthold.
To support the podcast and get rewards in return, become a Treemium member at arbitrarypod.supercast.com.
Thanks for listening.